Hello and welcome to Google Analytics Bootcamp. This is Josh Oakes. Today we're going to look at how to examine Google Analytics to use it to our benefit. Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, today, how to track social media success using Google Analytics. What are we going to learn, Josh? Well, we're going to look at examples from real brands first. Then we're going to learn how to use the Google URL Builder. Then we're going to see how to shorten our long links using Bitly really quickly. And you guys have seen this in previous videos. Next, I'm going to give you a quick cheat sheet on how to track your messaging in Google Analytics after it's deployed. Just very, very simple stuff. We're not going to get overly advanced. We can do that on future videos, but today is just a jump start. Josh, why should I use Google Analytics? That's a great question. Let's look at some examples so that we can see why the heck. First, what is this used for, and then I'm going to show you what is it and then how to use it. Because I know a lot of people ask, what is Google Analytics? Well, let me show you the anatomy of a $267 money-making tweet. Well, Josh, what do you mean? Well, we used to run Twitter for Palms in Las Vegas, and we'd set out tweets, and there'd be a link at the end. Planning your upcoming trip to Vegas. There's no hotter place to stay than at the Palms. Worship the sun here. Well, you want to find out who's clicking on that and then who's going and buying stuff. And how would you do that? Well, you would use a system or mini systems that work with Google Analytics. Our biggest goal is to drive revenue, which Palms refers to as getting heads into beds. Here's an example of one of the most engaging and profitable tweets. $267. Start with an engaging question. Remember how we asked people great engaging questions, keep your tweets seasonal, and talk about what's on everyone's mind. And then we put Google Analytics into that. Now this is like a Bitly, it's a shortener. So when you click on that, you're going to click on it and it'll turn into 100 characters. Now, campaign traffic sent 15 visits and 1 purchase. You can see down here that revenue was $267.68, 1 transaction. And the way that we gathered this was through Google Analytics. All right, let's go on to the next one. Here's an anatomy of a $924 money-making tweet. Now, Josh, how do you know that this tweet made $924? Because this URL had Google Analytics built into it. It's one of our followers' favorite tweets because it seems special and secretive. Psst, we're releasing $55 rooms here, and then there's a link, specific dollar amount, whisper the deal instead of shouting it or selling it. And 94 people visited the page. 94 visits, $924 in revenue, 1 transaction, $9.83 per. So you can see these stats down here. These come from Google Analytics. That helps us to look inside of this. I'm going to teach you exactly how we did this. Next, here's a best performing Twitter post as reported by Google Analytics for a radio station. No sales, just announced pre-sale for the Black Keys on our site today, and a link. You got 130 clicks, 130 visits on that day, as you can see. And you can see the average time on site was 3 minutes, 22 seconds, much higher than the site average and so on. So these stats are pretty important. They're very helpful for a lot of big companies. All right, how the heck do we get started, Josh? Well, we're going to visit the URL Builder. What's the URL Builder? It helps us make links and build our links. I'm going to show you exactly how to use it today. First, how do I find the URL Builder, Josh? Where do I go? Well, first, I want you to visit Google and type in URL Builder in Google. And here's what you're going to do. Go to Google, URL Builder, literally, and click Google Search. You're going to click on the top result. See that tool, URL Builder, right here? You're going to end up clicking on that one. Comes up first because Google owns it. It's pretty easy. And here's what you get. You are going to land on this page. And I've highlighted 5 areas that are the most important. Now remember, we could talk about any one of these technologies for 10 hours. We've got less than an hour here. So I want to just highlight the 5 areas and exactly what you need to do to cut through all of the clutter and be successful. See how this says website URL? This one says campaign source. This one says campaign medium. This one says campaign name. And then this is number 5. This is going to be your output. This is what you're going to use. Now let's examine these really quickly. See how this? I'm giving you the 4 that are required, and then the 5th is the output. So see the asterisk next to each one of these. Those are the ones that are required. Josh, what do we put in URL? Well, you're going to insert the final destination landing page here. That could be Armor Self-Storage, it could be pizzahut.com, whatever, wherever you want people to end up going to see your content. That's what you put in there. So then the next, and we're going to insert something in there in a moment. Then the next thing, number 2, the campaign source. What is the campaign source, Josh? It's the name of the site that the link will live on, and I'll show you in a second. It's going to be a social network or an email. I'll show you in a sec. Then a campaign medium. This is the name of the tool typically that you're using, because I like to come back and find out what tool's the best. Next, campaign name. I include the date and any key terms from the social media post in here, which is really helpful. I'll show you exactly how to do that. And then number 5, your long link will appear here. Let's go fill the darn thing in. First of all, MediaLeaders.tv. This is my company. This is where we want people to end up, let's say on the front of our page. You could also go MediaLeaders.tv/Master Online Marketing Bootcamp, whatever it is. Go grab the page, the URL from your page, and put it in there. Next, campaigns, and then you just literally click in the next box, campaign source. You can put in either Facebook or Twitter or email. It's the name of the site that the link lives on. So this long link, wherever you're putting it, you're probably going to post it in a Facebook post, in a Twitter post, or an email. It's important to note you're only going to put one of these. I'm just putting a couple options here for you so you can see it. Notice how they're carefully crafted, all lowercase. Case matters here, so I just put the word Facebook. I don't put FB. I clearly write it out so it's one way across all, and I'll show you how to plan. Medium. I put the tool name here, Hootsuite, lowercase, no uppercase little random things, TweetDeck, or any type of other tool you do. You can also send it natively to Twitter if you go to twitter.com, so you could put Twitter in here as well. It lives on Twitter and it was sent through Twitter. Hootsuite is a tool, Twitter is its own tool. Okay, next, campaign name. This is date, and I put the date in 2012.09.2. Today's probably, let's say 26th. So I put it year first, then month and date, and I do that so I can sort them. And then I'll put a keyword from the actual tweet so we can find out what's most exciting. And I'll show you how to do that. And then number 5, if you click the generate URL, look what happens. Really long and ugly. MediaLeaders.tv, and it puts the source in there for you. It auto-calculates it. Source is Facebook. The medium, you'll see over here, it says Hootsuite. And then number 4, it'll say picture of the webinar or whatever you want it to, date, keywords, and stuff. All right, hopefully this makes sense. I'm going to review it one more time just so we're all clear. The website URL is probably your website address of your company, your professional establishment, your organization. Where are you going to send people? The campaign source is what social network is this link, this long link, going to live on? The name of the site that the link lives on. It's promoted on Facebook, but we send people to Media Leaders. Does that make sense? This is promoted on Facebook, and we're going to shorten it, so don't get scared about how long it is. This is the medium. We're going to use, let's say we promote it on Twitter. We use Hootsuite to promote it on Twitter, and this is the link we want them to go to, and then this is what we use. And then the date and keywords, I'll show you how that works in the end. All right, let's look at the URL builder options. First of all, how to set up a tweet. Let me show you exactly, the more examples I can give you, the better. So the source, if in that source first box, if you were to put Twitter, this would be how you set up a tweet. The name of the site the link lives on. Notice how it's all lowercase and it's carefully spelled. Next, the medium could be Twitter, Timely, Hootsuite, TweetDeck, usually the tool name in all lowercase. And these are all tools. Timely is a tool, Hootsuite's a tool, TweetDeck, and so on. Next, as you can see here, term, we don't need to use this. And the next one, content, you actually don't need to use it as much. And the reason for that is those are mostly used when you're running paid advertisements. You could always come back and use them later, but they're mostly used when you have banner ads and different versions of the same banner ad and all kinds of stuff. If you buy PPC ads through Google AdWords, it'll auto put in term and content and so on for you. Now let's look at next, campaign name. This is where it gets interesting. I usually do the date in the year, month, and day. That means 2012 11.13. Josh, why do you do that? Well, that's a great question. I do this because then I can sort and find out, because tweets are sent out so often and so many of them, that I want to find out what year, what date, and what month and what day. If it's something that sits on your website that points to another site and it's sent out and it's one link that goes throughout the whole year, you probably don't need this date as much. But I like it because it's timely in social media. Then I put 2 to 3 words from the message, which could be favorite music. What's your favorite music that you listen to? Is it rap or jazz? If the tweet had that into it, I would put the words favorite music. And here's an example. 2012.11.13 dash favorite music, all lowercase. I put dashes between them. Use dashes between words and keep it lowercase. The reason I use dashes is it's more SEO centric. I could go on and on about it, but this is the way I want you to do it. 2012.11.13 favorite music. You don't have to put the date, but I do. That's the date that it's deployed, so that if 1 year later somebody goes back and buys a ticket based on a tweet or something on our Facebook page, I know, wow, they clicked on that link to start their destination over to our site. All right, Josh, how do we set up a Facebook post using this? It's neat that you showed us Twitter, but show us Facebook. Okay, great. Source, you're going to put Facebook, the name of the site that the link lives on. So all lowercase, notice how that works. And then we're also going to put in Medium. Medium this is where it gets interesting. I don't want you using a tool to send out your Facebook posts. Let me repeat that. I suggest that you don't use Hootsuite, TweetDeck, or any other tools, because it'll say that it was sent by those networks and it kind of detracts a little bit. And we don't know if the algorithm actually deters you from getting a ton of stuff. I won't get super nerdy, but sometimes the algorithm will actually throttle back your impressions if you send it through a third party. So what I recommend you do is jump over to status. I'll show you this in a sec. And you notice how there's status, photo, milestone. You can upload an album. You can upload a video and all kinds of other stuff. The link that you put in there, put the word status, photo, video, or note, whatever type of link that you're going to post. I suggest photos. Tip, try to always post in Facebook natively rather than using tools like Hootsuite, TweetDeck. Use this medium to track what type of post you use to promote the link in your Facebook timeline. Josh, why do we even care? Well, if you've got a lot going on, you don't have to. But I want to show you the best of the best and how to do it the right way, because if you are POMs, you care about what they clicked on so you can learn. And remember, testing your advertising means you'll always get better. I've got a quote in my book that many of you know that my book comes out called Light, Bright, and Polite. And there's a quote in it all about how testing your advertising will always improve. And if we know if people click on photos all the time to buy, well, then why are we sending out status updates? Okay, cool. Term you don't need, once again. Content you really don't need on that original thing. Campaign name. This would be the date that you'll deploy it or send it in the year, month, and day. And then 2 to 3 words from the post, whatever you post or what's on your mind. Example, 2012.11.13 favorite music, and 2012.11.14 text to win sweepstakes. Notice how I put a very careful dash, not an underscore. I put a dash and then a lowercase favorite and then dash music. That'll actually come up and I'll show you in a sec how that looks. All right, Josh, how do I do this in an email? If I'm sending an email broadcast to tons of people to try to sell something or get them to buy or click through or whatever. Great question. In the source, put email. Very simple. It's going to live in their email inbox. That is this site. In the medium, you can put Gmail if it goes in the signature line. You can put MailChimp, autoresponder, signature line, usually the tool name. Now, the tool signature is you could put this across to everybody's links and so on. It gets kind of nerdy that way, but you get the idea. If you use MailChimp, which is an email responder, or your company email system, you could just put email and email if you had to. But it's nice to know if it was in an email, what tool did you send it through? It gets really nerdy later, but it really helps. You don't need term and content once again. Campaign name, the date that you're going to deploy it. If it's one large broadcast, MailChimp and all these other large email systems that you've probably heard about, like Campaign Builder and all kinds of other ones, they will send one large blast out and that blast is just a temporary, and you can see what purchases are made after the blast. So then you'd put the date. In addition, you might want to put 2 to 3 words that describe the email, or perhaps describe the call to action. Here's an example. On 2012.03.28, we send a grand opening invite, and people would click on that. So it would record the email source, the medium source, and then this would be the campaign. And I'll show you why soon. You've got an entrance, you've got the reason they entered, and then you've got actually what click they clicked on within the email. So you probably have several different campaign locations within an email. I know you're thinking, Josh, this sounds exhausting. Well, when there's big money in some of this stuff and you have a little bit of time, this is where you can fine-tune your marketing to look at the analytics and say, now I know people in an email that are getting it through MailChimp are clicking mostly on these words, the grand opening invite link on the upper right. On this date, for some reason, we sent it at the right time of the day, the right month, the words were great, and then we learned from it. Okay, how do we shorten our links, Josh? That's a really long link. We're going to use Bitly. Many of you have watched my advanced analysis of how to use Bitly in our set of other videos. I encourage you to do so. If you go to bit.ly, this is just a quick overview. You're going to be able to shorten your links. You can also go to the upper right to add one. Bitly changes all the time. So if it doesn't look like this, don't worry. You'll see a big button that says shorten. What links do you want to shorten? And you're going to put your link in here with Google Analytics, or you're going to add it in the upper right and say download, shorten, and stuff. There's little widgets all over. And once you've done that, you're going to see it appear down here, how to track social media success. You're going to click that copy button. And then all of a sudden that bit.ly will take the really, really long link, as you saw right here. See this very long link, medialeaders.tv, track social media success, blah, 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 blah. It's like 150 characters. It shortens it down to 20 characters or less. So you click that copy button and you take it and you start using it in your social media. Now, I want to go ahead and outline to you exactly what we need to do. Where do I start with Google Analytics to start checking my data, Josh? Well, that's a good question. First, you need to go use the Bitly for a week, for a few days, send it out in some emails, whatever your campaign goals were, start using it. And then right after that, now I'm going to give you a cheat sheet. You are going to visit google.com/analytics. So you're going to type that in the top, google.com/analytics to get to Google Analytics. You're going to land on this page. Even if you're logged in, it never really logs you in. You have to click, typically you have to click Access Analytics. And then what it'll do is it's going to take you eventually to this site. You can navigate different sites in the upper left. Sometimes it just shows a list of the sites that you are tracking. You can use in the upper left. Now, I've highlighted some red zones here, and I want to make sure that you know to start off in these red zones. First, you're going to click on standard reporting up at the top, and I'll walk you through a little bit of this later on, but standard reporting is important. Then you're going to click on traffic sources. Traffic sources, and it's going to drop this down, and you'll click on sources. Then you'll click on campaigns. This is actually, campaigns is hidden. Traffic sources, sources, campaigns. Then another important note that not a lot of people look at is, please note that typically the date box up here is running this data for the last 30 days. Just keep note of that. This is 26 days. It should be like the last 30 days or so. That's going to give you a general idea of what your campaigns are doing. So first you're going to click on standard reporting to jump into this. It might give you a home button, but I want you to click on standard. Traffic sources, click on sources, click on campaigns. A great place to start. And after you've sent out your emails, here's what happens. Or if you've used those Bitlys, the way I taught you to set it up is going to then work really well here. Now, here's what's cool. You see these primary dimensions down here. I don't want to get too advanced, but you've got a campaign. You could click on source. You can click on medium and source and medium. This gets nerdy and exciting for me all at the same time. This is where I've clicked on campaign. You can see overall visits to the site up here and pages per visit and duration. But what's interesting is now we can go through and see which ones contributed to this large amount of traffic and so on. So 2012.20.03. Now that's actually wrong. One of my team members might have filled that out wrong. The 20th day on the third month, it's actually 2012, and then you need the month and the date. But you see how one little mess up ends up in your analytics. It's like, oh no! But you can see the date that this was emailed to everybody, emailed to everyone. 124 visits, and you can see the bounce rate and so on. So the people that clicked on a link came through the email to everyone on that. I can also click on the source, the source medium, I'll show you in a sec. Other people through a webinar, and other people through Media Leaders Bootcamp tweet. Now you can see that the Media Leaders Bootcamp tweet, what day did you send that out, Josh? Well, that's a good question. Maybe we made one tweet and sent it out a whole lot over the course of a month. That's why if we put the date at if it was one tweet, we can put the date at the beginning and know beginning or end. And I like the beginning because then you can sort based on name. You could see this tweet was sent out on this date, and then I could click on source and medium and so on and find out it was sent out through Hootsuite and so on and so on. And I can show you more. Okay, so this is the cheat sheet. Hopefully you find this helpful. If you're overwhelmed with Google Analytics, I totally understand. I've went through 10 to 20 hours of training just to be really good at this stuff, and I want to make sure that you understand this is where you start. Standard reporting, traffic sources, campaigns. Start to look down here. Start to look at pages per visit, average visit duration. You can change things over here into a secondary dimension and so on. So hopefully that makes sense. Now here's some key tips, takeaways. Those of you that want to go off and use this right now. Biggest tips to keep you successful, and you'll thank me in the end. First of all, keep everything lowercase. Remember how I showed you there's no caps, because if you do capitalize one item, one letter, it will then think the all lowercase Facebook is different than uppercase Facebook. And so keep everything lowercase and the same. If you must insert spaces, then use dashes between words whenever possible. Nothing crazy. Don't use weird characters. Use dashes. Next, be consistent in your naming across different campaigns so they'll fit well in the Google Analytics dashboard. Example, notice how this is an uppercase Facebook versus a lowercase Facebook.com. Just put lowercase Facebook and put that consistent across everything. And next, keep both lowercase and only use the name to communicate this medium. One name. So don't do Facebook.com or FB or this or that. Just use the word Facebook, and you'll thank me in the long run, because it'll be consistent and your data over the course of the next year will be easy to read. All right, Josh, what did we just review? Let's go over it one more time. First, we looked at a couple of examples of real brands. Why the heck would we even use Google Analytics? I showed you how to monetize and how all that stuff works, or how to track your monetization. And then we showed how to use the Google URL Builder, the 5 areas you need to know about, and you can skip the 2 middle ones. And then I showed you how to shorten your long links using Bitly, because they are tremendously long and you can shorten them. You don't always have to use Bitly. You can use any URL Builder, shortener, but what I recommend you do is that if you're going to put it in social media, you shorten it to 20 characters or less. Bitly does that. And then I give you a quick cheat sheet on how to track your messaging in Google Analytics after it's deployed. We'll have other more advanced videos that get deeper and deeper, but this lets you dive in, gets you a quick jump start on how to do this for your brand so you can get started quickly. Thank you so much for watching Google Analytics Bootcamp. Watch our future videos that will help you learn more about how to dive in deep. This is Josh Oakes. I appreciate you watching.